interesting because many different coaching models include a cycle, and it's hard to speak to combining them unless you think about purpose. So when you think about purpose for a coaching cycle with student-centered coaching, we're thinking about our purpose is to move student learning forward, so all of our practices align with that. And if you have a different kind of cycle, which may be the case, and you might have a different purpose, then it's going to be really hard to make those two things fit together. So if a cycle in a different coaching model is about moving teacher learning forward or getting people to implement with fidelity, it's going to involve different practices because practice follows purpose. So I wouldn't say to try to mash up different approaches. I would be purpose-driven. Think about a cycle that matches your goals or what you're trying to accomplish with your coaching work. So when you're not necessarily in a full coaching cycle, there are some practices that are definitely useful no matter what kind of framework you have. One is really to drive with student work at the table. So whether it's a PLC, a single coaching conversation, an informal coaching conversation, if you have student work at the table, something that kids just did that day in the lesson, something that the kids just did formatively in terms of a formative assessment, you can use that in all different ways to drive your decision making, because that's really the heart of our work, is to make decisions based on where kids are. And so that would be the number one practice I would try to infuse as much as possible, even into PLCs or data teams. Get some student work at the table and drive with that. And you'll see that the decision making changes. It's less about what's the next lesson and more about what kids do and what should we do next. So I think that is a kind of a universal practice that I think would apply no matter what kind of coaching meeting you're in. So this has become a really interesting focus of our work recently, and it's the focus of a new book, Leading Student-Centered Coaching. And what we found is that if we can align the school improvement plan well from the get-go, then coaching can fall right underneath and become a really important vehicle to make sure that plan is met. So an example of that is if your school has a very focused key strategy you're going after for the year. Let's say you're going to try to really create much more student discussion in classrooms that's rigorous and academically focused. If that's your school improvement plan goal, well then a coach can build that in to every single coaching cycle and help teachers meet that goal. But if your school has 15 different strategies you're going after and there's a sense of initiative overload, then what'll happen is a coach will become overloaded as well and be less focused in the coach's work. So we try to really help build principal-coach partnerships so that the school improvement plan becomes the centerpiece of everything that's unfolded for the school year, and it's all about how can we align all of our resources, coaching being one, so that we make sure that goal is met. Now this is all hinging on the fact that the school improvement plan is high quality and focused. If it isn't, then that's not necessarily going to get us very far. So sometimes we have to back up and help with that, but that's okay too, because that's really the leadership side of the coaching work.